That's how you start.
All right. Welcome, everybody. The weekly live stream, co stream that we do here with Brian White from Futuraza, Nick Gibbs from Investing Against the Grain. This is an insane week. Crazy, crazy week. So many things have happened. We've got lots of topics to discuss. We probably shouldn't ignore any of them because they're all very, very important. Started off with the Elon politics, what happened with his feud rising again with Trump. We had the production delivery numbers dropped this morning. Elon posting about this potential solar gigafactory. Of course, just a few days ago, we had the new LFP factory announced, and that is right on the heels of the first vehicle ever being autonomously driven, delivered from the factory to customers. We're waiting for the new vehicles, and BBB was approved, and there were some executive moves as well. Just so many things to talk about. Welcome, guys. How are you both doing today?
Well, I'm terribly sad that my estimate was too low and delighted that it was too low.
Yeah, you're glad that you were wrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
How far off are you?
Oh, pretty far. I was close to the bottom of the people estimating. And so I was way, way short.
That's not like you, Brian. So why don't we start with that and ask you why you were wrong, but not only you, everybody was wrong. So this morning we just got information from Tesla that their second quarter production deliveries, they produced 410,000 cars, but they delivered 384,000. And 384 is higher than, the analyst consensus. It was basically at the analyst consensus, but the rest of the retail were caught off guard. 370, 335, there you are, 348. Brian, why were you so far off? And why do you think everyone else was far off?
Well, I didn't see it. I thought it would be bigger than last quarter, and it was, but I didn't think it would be, that much bigger, 20% bigger. So I didn't see units moving out as aggressively. I knew Cybertruck S and X sales were abysmal, and there was softness in Europe, and we don't get Germany's numbers until later. So we didn't get a good picture out of Germany, which is the largest market for cars in Europe. So I just thought, yes, it will be better, but it will not be, monumentally better. So this was a big miss for me and everyone, except Gary got real close, I guess, and Wall Street magically, first time I've ever seen it, was pretty much spot on.
What do you think happened, Nick?
I think we sold more cars than people expected.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Nick is right.
There we go. Yeah, Nick is right. I mean, you can go check receipts. I was on with Randy Kirk last night, and I said this would happen. So, just
that it would be higher.
Yeah, everyone was wrong. Yeah, I even said that today would be a green day. I said it all.
Wow, he said it all, did you? Yeah, it's funny. It is interesting how except for you, no one else can predict what's happening. There was people like Randy Kirk.
Plenty of wrong predictions. I've had plenty of wrong predictions, but
yeah. Randy actually was saying that he's expecting something really bad to the point that he sold his Tesla stock. He sold all of it. And then, of course, today he had to buy back, but he was expecting a big drop. Didn't happen. Let's say it's hard to predict.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with Herbert now.
Hard to predict. More cars were sold than we thought. Okay.
You guys, come on. I do have concerns about Cybertruck deliveries. Not so much production. They seem to be able to produce them, but the price tag seems to be disagreeable to a number of buyers. And I'll tell you, the only legitimate complaint I've heard from people is the range. When I did an overnight test drive, man, was that thing thirsty. I picked it up full. I charged it twice, once on when I got back from Portland where I picked it up, and once when I on the way back, I was like, this thing is just thirsty compared to the Model 3 rear wheel drive, which I drove 4 hours and brought it back at 37%. So I can understand that that's a legitimate concern. And also, you do still get a lot of attention in the Cybertruck, and not all of it is positive. Some of it definitely is. People are still posting Sentry Cam footage of little kids coming up to get their picture with the cool Cybertruck, but you also get the other kind. And some people don't want any attention in either direction. But I don't know how many people really savor the negative variety.
Yeah, Cybertruck, concerned about that. I guess we have to talk about Trump and Elon. That started to rear its head a couple of days ago. Elon
Before we go on to that, can we just address real quick? Were you guys surprised at all that they didn't have any nod or mention anything of the new potential vehicles, new models, or anything? I know we yeah. Anyway, so just I really thought we were going to see something.
Yeah,
I've been saying for a month at least that we would need to see something. We would need to see leaks. We would need to see road testing, spy shots, even supplier leaks. I don't have as many supplier connections as I used to, but they are just not happening. And that concerns me. We do see the black curtains at Giga Texas. We do see the ground floor of the parking structure still has privacy fencing up. What's going on there? We don't know. And for that matter, we've got with that, I know I've spoken to all the drone pilots at every location except Shanghai, where there are no longer drone pilots. And they've told me that they will get calls saying, don't fly on a particular day. And sometimes they get calls saying, definitely do fly on a particular day and time. And that means we wouldn't necessarily see it at the factory, even if it's there, because they might ask them, don't show it. And then, but all the other leaks are likely. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like with regards to like the suppliers and stuff, Brian, because it's going to use so many of the same pieces that I think that could fly well under the radar.
Yes. And I said that with Juniper as well. People were asking if I could see it coming. And I said the parts in common are so many that it's very likely that I wouldn't be able to see it until we started seeing spy shots, which is what we did. But where's the spy shots? Maybe it's hidden in plain sight so well that we just overlook it.
Yeah. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
This is Lars Morvey. This is what he said in the first quarter of last year, right? We're still planning to release models this year. So this is 3 months ago. We're still planning to release models
last year.
Last quarter, I meant last quarter. Q1 was when he said this. We're still planning to release models this year. As with all launches, we're working through the last minute issues that pop up. So he's already saying that it's going to be delayed. I would say that ramp might be a little slower than we'd hoped initially. So he's already pointing that out, that there's a delay. He said that there's nothing blocking us from starting production within the next, and then he paused, within the timeline laid out in the opening remarks. So this is 3 months ago. From that, just as 3 months ago, I'm not expecting that, oh gosh, this is gone. It's canceled, not happening at all. I think it's delayed by 3 months, maybe maximum 6 months.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a coincidence that they're shutting down several of the lines for retooling. I think
which is happening this week, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's a great time to do it. Now, some people might say, "Oh, they're going to shut down other lines too." It's like, well, if you're going to shut down some lines, you might as well shut all of them. You might as well do one retooling across the board. But just because I'm also going to tweak the Cybertruck line does not mean that I'm not doing something else on the Y3. The retooling is not homogenous. The lines are going to have their own independent retoolings, and I'm of the opinion that one of those, because we know this will be built on the Model Y3 line. When else would they do it? If it's going to come mid-year, when else would they do it other than during the time that they're shutting down to retool?
Which is this week.
My thought was that they would have done it when they were retooling for Juniper anyhow. But even if they did, there's still always, the actual final dialing in to be done. And especially if earnings aren't going to be, blowing it out of the water. It might be nice to release it 2 days before that.
So if anything, maybe the answer to your question of why did that P&D press release, that report, why did they not put a sentence in? Because it's imminent. Maybe it is imminent, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we see it this month personally.
Yeah,
And I just
agree.
don't think they want to do anything to detract from the current models that are already available. There are people who will wait, not necessarily most or even many, but even if it's 10%, do you really want to lose 10% of potential sales for the next month? And then that person places an order. Maybe they can't get it for 6 months. Let's just, if someone needs a car now, let them get a car now. Don't confuse them.
So then just and then we can move on, Herbert. But so you all are still of the opinion that it's coming July, August, like it's coming.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
My opinion is it is coming. I will not put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if it's not out by the end of the year. But if it's in even the beginning of Q4, that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then are we all still thinking that it's an actual new form factors, shorter Model Ys, or is it just the Model Y trimmed down?
No idea. No earthly idea. I've been through every flavor of speculation and cannot pick a favorite.
Yeah, my favorite is that I don't think in the report Tesla just released, I don't think that vehicle was an accident. I'm not saying that's what it's going to look like exactly, but I could see that being like an early concept.
Yeah, I got a photo of it. Hold on. Just keep talking.
Because
for a second.
why else put that? Like you don't need to put anyone else's car on there. Like, and I get the theory of like, oh, showing that other people can charge. Like, I
We're
don't
talking
know.
about this one. Yeah. People kept saying,
I
oh, it
think
looks
that's
like a
much too ugly to be a Tesla.
Exactly. So if this is the
And a
photo
grill?
here,
I don't
and you
know.
can see that all the Tesla cars are real cars, except for this one. Why did they white this down? Why did
Because I think they want us to think of every car that isn't a Tesla as a white crayon.
I mean, okay, one argument would be this is supposed to be a photo of Tesla's product portfolio. Everything here is Tesla stuff. And so, okay, here's our charging network, and we've got our cars and other people's cars, I guess.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Could be also, it does look like a hatchback, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. But then there's this weird antenna thing here. I mean, what's that? That's a Prius. Look at this ugly front here. Nah. Just a regular car.
I don't think that's it. It looks like an Easter egg. Well, just an egg, not necessarily an Easter egg.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Less production and deliveries shocked everybody in a good way.
Oh, I'm still seeing headlines that said Tesla misses expectations, and I
Yeah.
point this out every time. Tesla didn't miss. Wall Street missed. Your estimates were bad. If your estimates had been low by 2000, would the headlines be glowing? No, they would just focus on, well, year over year, it's still worse than a year ago when all factories were running normally with none of them dealing with retooling. We saw a lot of manufacturing growth. We saw a growth in days of inventory, getting us back to more reasonable, healthy levels so that if somebody wants to buy a car today, they can. Other manufacturers sometimes have issues with that where they've either got so many cars it's absurd or so few that they can't deliver them. But hey, got to complain about something, I suppose.
All right.
All right. Well, as we get into this next topic, just remember I didn't bring it up and Brian didn't bring it up. Go on, Herbert.
I have to bring it up. We have to talk politics because Elon brought it up.
Policy too.
So obviously Elon a couple of days ago started talking about a third political party, you can call it the American Party. He said that if the BBB was passed, which it was, the very next day he will form this and he will vote out any Congress member who voted for this a couple of years from now. So next year. So it's kind of a big threat. Even President Trump himself came back and he made some comments about, if Elon wants to go back to South Africa, or what if Doge investigated Elon, lots of threats like this. Now, today it's been quiet. Things can change in a dime either way. But boy, this is something that happened a couple of days ago. Everybody thought it was going to be the end of the world. Here we are, it's quiet again. So where are you guys sitting with what's going on there, and how should we Tesla investors think about this?
Which part? I would say creating a new party, especially one as well funded as that, isn't necessarily going to get people in power. It will be more. It'll split votes, is what it'll do. That's good for somebody. It depends which candidates are being, what sort of candidates are selected. But if he's trying to eliminate all of the people who voted for the new bill, then I think that means he's going to only be picking Democrats. I don't know I don't understand the intention. I think Elon is still under the impression that politics is straightforward, like engineering. And it is not. It is a very analog business, so to speak. In terms of the on and off, will they, won't they? I'm just so over it, man. The president is fickle, to put it very politely, and he doesn't like anyone challenging him. And Elon also doesn't like people challenging him, and that creates a bit of friction at times.
Yeah. So are you expecting imagine if he does a new political party? We're not talking about, the next 3 months I'm going to be doing Doge. This is minimum 4 years. The next 2.5 years he's going to be focused on this. Or some people say, no, he's just going to fund it. He can't run for it. There's nothing different than what he's doing now, supporting a particular party. In this case, he chose to create his own.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of time commitment that would take. I think it would be easier than Doge, which was very, very hands-on. And this, I think, is something that he would be more comfortable just kind of delegating out. But I don't know. I don't know. He's, it's his money. He can do with it what he wants, I guess.
Yeah. Nick, thoughts?
So, all right. So my thoughts are, I think Trump has done a lot of things that I like so far. But when it comes to this whole budget, I think Trump and I think Elon are both being lazy, is the best way I can say it. I think Elon's being lazy because he's using the same tactics he did a month ago to attack Trump and the big, beautiful bill, where he's not saying anything. He's just saying it's filled with pork or whatever. So, like, if anyone at his company came to him and said, "Well, this is what it costs, and this is it. It's this amount, and that's it," and didn't give the details on every line item, how much each thing with the penny cost, he would yell at them and fire them, which we saw in the biography. At this point, I would have expected Elon to come out with line items, examples, nuances of where the pork is. Like, okay, enough with the name calling, the ad hominems. Like, let's get down to brass tacks. Call it out specifically. Be additive. Be constructive to what you're looking to get done. Like, where are you pointing out? Call out the areas where it's a waste and who would benefit from it. Like, if you feel so strong about it, let's do that. On Trump's side, I also think he's being lazy because he could easily, he keeps saying that he just cares about the extending tax cuts because otherwise it's going to be a big tax increase to all Americans. And he's right about that. He's not wrong. He's 100% right about that. But in that case, pass the tax cuts. You don't need to do the rest of this. In the meantime, with the rest of this, let's get a balanced budget. And in my opinion, one of the reasons I voted for him and this administration was because I was sold a vision that this is a president that cared about balancing our budget, that this is, and maybe I wasn't sold this vision, but this was my point of view. He's a one-term president at this point. He's old. He just cares about his legacy. He doesn't have to pander to any lobbyists or anything. And for the first time, we have a chance where we have a lot of smart people in there from Elon to Antonio Grassi to the founder of Airbnb to Besant, to all these people. We have a lot of smart people out there who aren't just book smart, but actually are in the business world. We have a chance to sit there and say, you know what, Congress, balance the budget. Balance the budget. It's your job. Balance the budget. I will not sign anything or approve anything. I will veto everything that comes to my desk until we're balanced. And until then, if I was Trump, I would be like, get my taxes done. You guys figure it out in a bipartisan way. I'm going to force you guys to talk to each other, play nicely. I will veto everything. I will shut down the government. I don't care at this point.
Yeah.
It's literally what I would do at that point. And that's what I voted for. I thought we were going to have change like that.
Yeah.
I
would ask you both.
coming.
I'm going to ask you both to please restrict comments to about how politics affect Tesla and Tesla's investment. Not a,
It does.
Well,
does
if
that
it
not?
does,
That's
then
what-
explain that. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm just
I-
want to keep it
I
to
will-
that instead of
I
saying,
can
If he would
I
do
can-
that, Elon wouldn't be in this fight.
I
Well-
can pivot from what Nick said while adding to it, I think, which is what we could have seen is a reduction in the giveaways to the oil and gas industry. And we didn't see that. What we saw instead was, well, we need to tighten our budget. So we're going to add a new tax on wind and solar. It's like, that's not creating a level playing field. That's creating the opposite of a level playing field. And I think that's frustrating. We still have sky high tariffs from Biden on the import of LFP batteries from China, which has motivated Tesla to get their own LFP production up and running. That's great. But it's one small piece of a very big puzzle. And I would agree that I don't know what Congress is thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. This is there's a lot in this that a lot of people are going to be affected by in ways that will make them very, very uncomfortable.
I think the most important thing is that this is we've been saying it a few times here, global warfare, economic warfare with China. They are full force creating, near zero cost of solar and battery energy, which is going to be the most important thing for data warehouses, AI data warehouses. And Tesla's or the world, US is going to be, they're going to find out pretty hard in just a few short years, 5 years from now, how terrible this decision is to cut off the knee, exactly what the world needs now, which is energy that is solar and battery. This brings us to this next point here. Elon made this comment today. Was it today, this morning, or last night? Maybe there should be a solar gigafactory in America. He's responding to these kind of comments. This guy said, make it happen. Let me, I think I'm backing up here. Yeah, here we go. This guy started off with saying there's some shocking, amazing, insane data. In just 1 month, in the month of May, China added 93 gigawatt hours of solar power. That's more than the entire electrical capacity of Mexico, a country with a population of 132 million people. This is what exponential infrastructure looks like. Energy is the foundation. So this is China in just 1 month growing their solar power by this much. This is their table that they showed. China's unstoppable solar additions, installed solar capacity added each month. In yellow is 2025. The pink was 2024. They keep adding significant amounts of solar per month. And look at May. Look how much they did in May. This is what's going to happen. This guy's been sounding out the alarm. He says, if the US built as much solar as China did in May, it would free up enough thermal capacity to power every data center on the planet. So Elon said, maybe there should be a solar gigafactory in America. This other guy said, make it happen. There's a play here. If you scale solar and batteries and GPU clusters as fully integrated data centers, maybe X could offer a cloud platform using data centers building IP from XAI and energy from Tesla. And he gave a wink. That means that maybe they might do this. So if you combine the data center, the GPU clusters, right, with the solar and batteries, you can take that and offer that as a service. You could take that and just keep building that out. That's your product. There's a wink there. It means Elon's been thinking about this. But is Elon the only one that's trying to tell the US, you've got to build data centers. In order to build data centers, you need energy, you need solar and batteries. And here you are, the government cutting it off the knees.
I have a question for Nick on data centers. you know quite a bit about data centers. What kind of demand are we looking at over the next 5, 10 years? Is it as big as Elon says?
Um, I mean,
If I could bring on
it's
another 5 gigawatts a month, somebody would use it. Is that fair to say?
yeah. Let me explain my hesitation. My hesitation is because right now we're seeing that the laws of scaling are proving out to not to be diminishing, or they don't really seem to be plateauing yet. But there's a chance that there's a certain point when Tesla makes a million GPU cluster where, like, okay, it's not really beneficial to go to 2 million, right? Like, there's going to be a point, and we don't know when that is. So that's why I kind of hesitate. And then there's also this other part where at some point people got to start making return on investment. It's got to happen at some point. Um, and if not, you can start seeing investments slow down. Like we've seen this happen before. It's not the first time, right? Just look at the .com bubble, right? Like that could easily happen here. So that's where my mind goes first. Like when you ask me a question like that, what aren't we thinking about? So
Mhm.
those could happen. But as far as what we know today, I would say, yeah, the demand is insatiable, right? The demand right now is limitless. Um, I think Nvidia is probably slowing down a little bit, which is an interesting canary in the coal mine, but not enough that's really that noticeable. But it could happen. Right now, though, I think for Tesla, I would say it's unlimited right now because Tesla has a very clear path to ROI, whereas I would say a lot of the other ones don't, right? Even OpenAI is going to have to start dropping their prices to just be competitive. You have Gemini, Anthropic, they're lowering their prices, right? Like things are getting commoditized a lot faster. So you got to take all these things into account, and then you don't know who else is coming up. You also don't know what efficiencies will be created. The problem with this idea, and again, on paper sounds nice: solar panels, data centers, GPUs, battery storage. It sounds nice. The problem is, where are you going to build that? Where do you have the space for that? Because that's a lot of land that you need to take up for the solar panels. And in general, with solar, you need, yes, on paper, again, you can have a 100 square mile area of solar panels that could power pretty much the entire United States, but you got to move those electrons from point A to
Mhm.
point B, and that's the hurdle. That's the real bigger problem. The easier way to solve the energy crisis that I think are in and going to have would be to mandate every new house that's built has to have solar. And I think that's the only way you can efficiently distribute this in our country. China's different. China has a
Mhm.
whole different incentive line, a whole different ability to move. For everything they give up on freedoms and the type of government we have and the benefits we have in a capitalist society, for every gimme there's a gotcha. Well, the gotcha is that they give up a lot of those rights, but the gimme that they benefit from is that they can move way faster than we can on everything, and they can
On
execute, focus, and get to where they want to get to quick.
the land issue, I don't see it as much. I just went out to Redwood Materials last week for their big presentation. Out there, they had a 22-acre solar farm with 2 acres of batteries powering 2 shipping containers. Now, that's a lot of land to power 2 shipping containers full of AI compute and as much as you can jam into them. So they were pulling probably 2 megawatts a day between them.
Yeah,
But what they pointed out is that land outside of cities is a lot more readily available, land that is not being used for anything agricultural or wildlife related, deserts. And another study I'd seen recently said that just the parking lots and commercial rooftops are already enough land. and those are well distributed around the country. You might have to get the power from the suburbs into the urban hub, but that network likely already exists, and if not, building out 5 miles of connection is a lot more reasonable than 500 miles of connection. So I am not, what I'm worried about is that solar already has huge tariffs, and now it's going to have taxes on top of it.
Yeah, I hear you on that, but put the tariffs and tax all that to the side just to address the land part of it. You are right. On its own, in a vacuum, land is not a problem, right? Just like we talk about transmission and moving those electrons, a problem. Another problem that at Tesla experience with the Nevada Gigafactory is top talent doesn't want to live in the middle of nowhere, right? So that's another hurdle you have to deal with. So there, and these are the ones we're talking about here on a podcast, that we're thinking of. But there's obviously a whole trickle of problems that start to scale out. So it's not just the talent, it's not just the land, it's not just the transmission, it's not just getting the transformers, it's not just having the right GPU, it's not just the incentives to be there. I mean, like the infrastructure from the roads to get. I mean, there's a lot of things that start to compile over time.
Wow.
So next door to Redwood Materials is a very large Google data center, and going up across the way, across the street really, is a very large Microsoft data center. And I think the reason they're able to do this is because the land was cheap, the power is reasonably cheap. I think it's 10 cents a kilowatt, might be 12. I think it's 10. And because once a data center is running, it doesn't need a lot of staff.
Not true.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, the ones I'm thinking of in Eastern
let's-
Washington had less.
No, hold on. This is an important nuance.
Sure.
Don't mistake GPU clustered data centers for normal cloud infrastructure data centers. They are
Okay.
not to be thought of as equivalent.
I did not know that. I appreciate
Okay.
the correct.
Do they all have networking? Yes. Do they all need storage? Yes. Do they all need memories? Yes. Do they all have compute? Yes. But they're not the same. And in a cloud type data center, you're not orchestrating one big hive mind to work together in a very orchestrated, highly intensive way. GPU clusters require way more heat waste management than a traditional data center. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And in general, you need to have security. You need to have your system admins ready on hand. When those disks go out, someone's got to swap them out. When those DIMMs go out, someone's got to go and swap them. If there's a backup or DR event, right? Like there's a lot of support that still needs to be there.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate the correction.
All right. Well, obviously, good news is we have Elon Musk, and he gives these a lot of thought. He's already launched 2 of the largest data centers in the world, supercomputers. And a little bit here I want to share was when you see him say something like this, maybe there should be a solar gigafactory in America. Whenever you see him say something like this, do you think that he's just now going, maybe there should be? Let me think about it. Or do you think there's already been work towards this? Every time you've seen something like this, maybe I should buy Twitter. The first time he did it, that was just like, maybe in the future. The second time he did it, he'd already made moves months.
And
months
how's his candy company doing?
Yeah. Sure. But I mean, I would say I would lean on this one that he's already made moves to make this happen. The other thing too is that Giga Nevada was Tesla Gigafactory 2 in Buffalo, New York. That was already a solar energy selling solar energies, and they had to stop that. But I think that the difference, and again, I've been saying this for a while, counter to what you're saying, Nick, I don't think Tesla should go back into the solar roof for homes. It's too costly, not enough money for homes. They should get into, okay, I didn't say that, but you're saying that homes is the way that you can have it in the humans or US. But I think that there will be a solar farm that's what he's going to be doing, and they get back into that. So
yeah. What I was saying is the only way that I see our ability to solve the energy crisis that we're in would be if there is a mandate where any new home that's built had a requirement to have solar, because then you're you're grandfathering everything as it is. You're not burdening current citizens, but you're putting the onus on new developers who can run all the cables, put in all the proper footers, but do everything right as they're building. So it's not inconvenient to anyone.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's
Well,
distributed. That's the brilliance about having solar, is that it can be distributed and everyone is additive to solving the problem.
If there is a solar gigafactory in America, as Elon just said, do you guys think that that's a Tesla company?
Yes.
Yes, I would say yes. Yeah, because it's too much in their wheelhouse. They already have a solar division, like you said. I don't know that Buffalo's ever made traditional solar panels. And a traditional solar panel factory is a highly complex. It might as well be a chip fab. They are precision pieces of equipment that they manufacture. So
this is another one, by the way. I've been saying that ever since Master Plan Part 3, Elon talked about 3 pillars of the Master Plan Part 3. Pillar 1 was energy generation. And it was shocking to me going, well, how come Tesla's not into energy generation, which is solar panels? And I ask everybody, why do you think that that's not a good idea? And they will say, because solar is a commodity and it's cheap and there's no real innovation to it. Here you have, Elon saying there should be a solar gigafactory in America. Maybe it's not Tesla making it, but
if there are going to be 100% import tariffs, then you don't have to be as cheap as China. You can be 25, 50% more expensive and still sell for less than the Chinese panels. The question is, could you actually make them for less than double the cost of what a Chinese factory does? And I'm not convinced you can. Otherwise, I think we'd potentially have already seen some movement in that direction. There are some solar manufacturers, I believe, in the US. None of them are on any kind of serious scale that I'm aware of.
Okay, LFP battery factory. That was one that they announced. Were you guys shocked, surprised that was coming?
No. Well, I mean, I've been following it since they bought the equipment last year. So no, it was great to finally hear something concrete. With every cell that they make there, same deal with the solar panels. As long as they can make them for less than double the price of Chinese cells, they're going to be cheaper because of the tariffs. And you know how Tesla loves to keep things local. They love to keep their supply chain as diverse as they can. This is just great. You can get your own lithium from Texas, make your own LFP cells in Nevada. Away you go.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things. It's energy, solar, batteries. For some reason, it's not some reason. I get why, but it's not the sexiest of topics, and so Wall Street ignores it completely. Like every day, I know you guys all watch some news or some clip of headline, whether it's CNBC or Bloomberg or whoever. You've all seen it, and today we had delivery numbers, but no one talked about the energy numbers. It's like it's a whole report that comes out. There's only 2 real data points on there, and they only cover half of the data point.
Right.
Well, the reason I skipped it today is because I'm going to do a whole show on it with CERN. We're going to do the full analysis for it.
What I posted on X there today was that in Q1 of 25, they produced more juice than they did or more storage than they did in 2022. And so far this year, they've deployed more storage than they have in every year prior to 2023 combined.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And it's just getting started because the new one in Texas hasn't rolled out. The one in Shanghai is probably still ramping, even if it's at capacity. And a lot of the deployments, a lot of the cells they've shipped haven't paid for. A lot of the packs have delayed payment metrics. And so they may have shipped ones that are not counted as deployed. We're going to see some big numbers.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
This looks like that energy is on track to at least be 40 gigawatt hours, which is Lathrop Megapack factory at full scale.
Mhm. Yeah, it's going to blow past 40 is, I think, a pretty reasonable guess.
Yeah. So that alone is fantastic. People, what is your estimate, Brian? That what in 2 or 3 years from now, energy division by itself will be as big as auto was last year.
I don't have an estimate like that. You might be mixing me up with someone else, but that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I've seen. Yeah, it's crazy. And we're all worried about production and delivery numbers.
Are we? I'm not. For me, it's a fun game. I don't put a lot of effort into it. Years ago, I would spend the whole quarter putting my numbers together, and my numbers wound up being very good. But now I just kind of I don't see the value in focusing on that.
I'm the same. I don't care about deliveries, honestly, just as long as they happen. I honestly don't even care about battery production. Right now, the only thing I care about is FSD, robotaxi, autonomy growing, geofence, and more users.
Now
That's
let's talk
all I
about
care
that.
about.
This is everything that's happened in the last few days. So we talked about the Elon Trump fight. We talked about the production delivery numbers that have dropped. Elon talking about solar gigafactory. Tesla announcing that there's an LFP factory. BBB was approved. We kind of speculating what happened to the new vehicles because that was supposed to be just to be clear, what they said was that in the first half of this year, that's when it will go into production. They didn't say it will be announced the first half of this year. So just because it's July 2nd doesn't mean necessarily that they didn't do what they're saying that they're doing. It's in production. We got FSD. The other thing that happened, of course, was the very first car was delivered to a home, somebody's home. That was happened a day ahead of what Elon was saying it was supposed to happen. Happened on his birthday.
Can we just appreciate for 1 second that not only did they hit the deadline, but were a day early, and nobody was like, classic Elon early.
Yeah.
No, where's the love? If he missed by 1 day, the media would have been up in arms. Fred Lambert would have written 4 articles about it. But it's early, so I mean, okay, I guess that's cool. No, it's very cool. This is a big moment.
Do you guys think it was kind of glossed over? Nobody really understands how significant that moment was.
If this was my childhood and that happened, I would have expected to see it on the news, on every channel that day. But I don't watch the news anymore. I don't imagine it was covered by anyone. So that's kind of frustrating. How do you get the word out when the media only cares about bloody stories and not exciting, hopeful ones?
Was that a question to me?
No, it was a statement, and then I figured Herbert, the classic moderator that he is, would keep us moving.
No, I was trying to keep don't let people speak. So,
well, then let me ask you, Nick. What did you think? Did you see any serious coverage of it outside of our little bubble?
Of the launch?
Yeah, of the home delivery.
Oh, the home delivery. I saw. Yeah, no, I did. CNBC. They had like a 10-second thing about they're going through like the top headlines of the day. Like, oh, this is this. Tesla had the first autonomous vehicle delivered. On to the next thing. That's all I saw. That was it.
Yeah,
but it's also, while I think it's great that they did that and it's amazing, it's also a little. Stage is the wrong word. It's a little.
Oh, it's a pageant.
Yeah, kind of. And it's like it would have been different if, like, in the same breath, they expanded the geofence to cover that whole area, because then it would be like, oh, okay, like this adds up. But right now, it feels like, okay, well, how much did they monitor this route? How much did they test on this route? Did they, like, I'm just wondering, like, how is this?
Did they a couple of dry runs over the previous days?
Did they get this very tailored and nuanced for this one delivery, or is this like scalable.
Does it
You
actually
get what I'm
work?
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really. No, I
So
don't.
I do.
I don't
You
get
don't
what
know
you're
what I mean?
saying at all.
I think if they had inadequate tech and wanted to fake it, it would be very easy to do. Other companies that have inferior tech have made some pretty darn good demos, and then when they try to do them live, they sometimes work. If you look at Faraday Future, the car was supposed to drive itself on stage, and a dude had to hop in it and move it.
Yeah.
But
This is
I'm
this
not
is
saying that's what
Tesla.
happened.
Tesla's
I
not
don't. I
here
don't
to
even mean
make
it like
these
that.
kinds of fancy show offs. They're doing it because the technology is ready and they're ready to roll this out. The car drove by itself. It was randomly chosen, and here it is. It actually did it.
You don't
They
know
can.
that.
We don't know that.
What part
We've
do we
heard
know?
that. We've heard
That it's
they said
randomly
those.
chosen?
Asha Kulaswamy himself posted and
I-
said this
I
was a
don't-
randomly chosen customer. The customer himself had no idea that FSD even existed.
I've seen Elon's idea of random before, and
Sure,
it's not random.
Well, okay.
I-
Yes, it could be staged. I would lean towards
not
the
saying
fact
it
that
is.
Tesla cars can do this, and they're about
Yeah,
to roll this out
let
far and
me-
wide, and that this was not in any way, as the Tesla Q said, oh, they shut down the streets. That was a police car sitting there. All these people were following it along the way. None of that is true.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Well, just be clear, because that's what they're all saying now, right?
I don't care what they're saying. Okay. I
Yeah,
don't
you're,
care.
you're,
He's
when
very
you
excited.
say something this, it feeds into
I don't care what
the
feeds into them
narrative.
because I don't care about them. And if people can't have nuanced thoughts and can't think critically, then that's their problem. But this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything Tesla Q is saying. What I'm saying is there is a good chance they had a lot of extra guardrails that they would not have with any other FSD vehicle or robotaxi just for the specific route. And that would not be scalable, and that would be for pageantry. And I don't think you can deny that. There's like, and
It's-
I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but they're not telling us that. And that's
Right.
where it's like,
And I'm not saying they did that. I'm saying it's possible.
we don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Everything is possible, guys. The reality, look, if
Is
you were to do
Roadster
this for the very
possible?
first time, just like that they did the first launch of the robotaxi, you do want to be super careful and super paranoid. And so, yes, why
disagree.
not? Yeah, doing these things. But does that mean it's not scalable? No, of course not.
We don't know
the
that.
Tesla cars.
We
Well,
believe
of course-
them. I believe. But
Yeah, okay. All right. All right.
Or-
We don't know it's scalable yet. How about that? None of us
Right.
know if it's scalable yet because they haven't scaled at all. All they've done is launch in a geo area, and that's it. So we have zero idea how scalable this is or how quickly it can scale.
Sure.
We believe, we have a thesis, we have zero concept. For all we know, this scales slower than Waymo. That's why that first scaling data point is so critical because that will be the slowest, theoretically, it'll ever scale.
I agree. No, it's Elon has said they're hoping to get because Farzad asked, when are we going to get down to 3-to-1 ratio or 1-to-3 ratio? And he said, yeah, hopefully in the next month or two. Now he wasn't confirming what the ratio is, but that, and for perhaps safety reasons, but perhaps technical reasons, it can't go unsupervised today.
And for what area?
Yeah.
Are you saying that that change is only in the same geo area? Because if it is, I would say that's pretty disappointing. If you're saying that would be the number in all of Metro Austin, I would say that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. All interesting stuff. Do we have any more topics?
Well, at least we have to be slower than Waymo. You don't scale for 2+ years. So we'll find out fairly soon. It's not like we have to be quicker than we think it is.
Well, Waymo just deployed in Atlanta. The videos coming out of Atlanta are not good. So I don't know. Waymo's
I agree with everyone's criticism of Waymo, and I think Tesla in the part in Austin, I think it's clearly better. Clearly, it just looks better. It's more natural. You can tell. Like every box, in my opinion, checks to Tesla. But you have to take your hat off that I would say Waymo is actually moving from city to city quicker because we haven't seen
Quicker?
Tesla yet. And so, yeah, than Tesla.
Well, yes, tip in the round. Okay.
I'm just saying, like they went. Look, they went. Sure, it took them like 2 years to scale to another city, and they were in Chandler, Arizona, for a long time. But they're getting faster and faster. There's no denying that.
Okay, this is full of truth, but also
I think
false.
we're giving Herbert.
What's false? Name one thing that's false.
No, that's the point. I can say things that are true facts, but then it's positioned in a way that makes it sound like, oh my God, they're scaling so fast and they're scaling faster and faster and faster. And watch out. No, dude.
Yes, but
They're gonna add another 1,000 cars next year. That's 3,500 cars. Tesla has 10. Oh no, they are so far ahead. They're killing Tesla. And Tesla, we do not know Tesla's scalability. We have no idea because they've not proven it. They haven't done it yet. All true. All true.
I feel like we're
Statements.
just
Good
trying
statements.
to add perspective because we can also present true statements that only paint a good picture. I think it's important to just have good statements generally, true statements generally, that things are good enough, I think, without having to lean too far into it. But hey, what do I know?
I stand at the ready. I think that Tesla will be the winner. I do think that they will put Waymo out of business. I think. I know the rate that Waymo's scaling. I see it. I can see what cities. I see what they've done over the long term. With Tesla, we have seen a rollout in the small geo area, and we have yet to see them scale. So
all true
until
statements.
then, and that's why my whole point is like the stock's not going to move at all in a real way until we start to see what that scale rate looks like.
Yeah. I've been asking that question to people. When will the stock move? When will people understand that Tesla's better than Waymo and that they've done something that's going to scale like massively? And one number could be when they hit Waymo's numbers. Waymo has 1,500 cars. They have 100 cars in Austin. They have 700 cars in San Francisco. And they have a small number of cars everywhere else. So could Tesla have 100 cars in Austin? Never. I guess that's a true statement because we don't know. We don't know if they'll ever get past 10 cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, or what's the likelihood that they'll get to 100 cars 2 years from now? Because if they don't do it beyond 2 years, then they've scaled slower than Waymo can scale. It's kind of like that statement where, they're going to do 10. They're going to do 15. They're going to do another 2 more cars. But then once they got it, the way that Tesla was built was that it could theoretically go 1,000, 2,000 faster than Waymo does for all the reasons we both know. So it's just don't say something that sounds like it's true, but then you're positioning it in such a way that we don't know. None of us knows. Yes, that's true. We don't know.
I do want to interject real quick because it is 5 minutes to the top of the hour. A reminder that I do have a live after show where I address questions and comments that came in, and I will see you there for that. If you're on Herbert's channel or my channel watching this, it will automatically redirect. Thank you guys for this spirited discussion. I'm glad it didn't come to fisticuffs this time. And I'll see you guys in a little bit.
We got 5 minutes.
We still have 5 minutes. We still have 5 minutes. I would lose that.
Round 3. Ding, ding, ding. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, so there's that. I mean, like, so to get back to the point about the first time Tesla had a car drive itself from the factory to the home. Yes, we have no idea. It could have all been staged and so forth. But I guess watching Tesla and how they've done what they do, they're actually the last company to try to kind of like do these things that are fake. Like, what is it, GM? They came out and says, no, our cars can also drive itself from the factory line. But you know that the way they've done it is like, it's all staged kind of thing, right? It's not actually something the car can drive. Mm-hmm.
Don't make me the bad guy here. Like, let's Tesla has had some faux pas. Right? They have, I mean, everyone knows about the 2016 video, whatever that crap was.
Right. That was faked.
So that actually happened. We have those first few like Optimus videos that we had, not the very few, not Bumblebee early, but like when it was doing certain things and people were like, oh, it's teleoperated. Well, Tesla didn't say it was teleoperated. And then after that, they started mentioning when something's teleoperated. They've had a video. I think it was I forget who figured it out, but that a video was fast forwarded or sped up to make it look more smooth. And was that their intent? Maybe or maybe not. But after that, they started playing on whether or not it was sped up or not or real time. So I'm just again, the point isn't. It's not. Everyone just goes to these extremes, like they're faking it or it's real. It's like no, like sometimes it's not real, as in this is exactly what we would have for a robotaxi, but they have all these extra guardrails to make sure because they know what happens if it gets in an accident. But that's also not how it would be delivered to expand to an entire geofence in that area to go on highways. It is not exactly the way it would go either, right? Like there's a lot of things here. So
how would it go?
I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying, like if they have special code in there to say, hey, only go this very specific route that we want you to go because we've already gone down this, mapped this out. We're going to have 2 cars behind you as well. We're going to have X amount of people watching remotely. Like there's all kinds of things they could have done ahead of time.
Oh yeah. No, I expect all of that.
So I'm just saying like that wouldn't be real. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it drove there, but how much was it like, yeah, the car has this ability versus, yeah, everybody has the ability if you add all this bubble wrap.
Oh,
you get what I'm saying?
That part, that's where I'm going to push back on that one. So yes, if I'm going to do the very first one, I would do all that. I would make sure I know exact drive. I would have a teleoperator just in case something happens. I would have people around just in case something happens, because the worst thing in the world could be a public relation nightmare. But can the car drive itself through using FSD software from one location to another location? Your car and my car does it today.
Dude,
but now would we do it? Yeah, you
I
specifically.
Yeah, I would do it
you
my car alone.
Yeah, you would do it, right? But the feature can do it, but you got to be careful public relation wise and I guess legality wise. You don't want to something do that. So that no other car in the world can do something like that. So that's
I agree. I don't doubt that either. I 100% agree with that.
The chances that this is just a one-off and will never happen again, or that this becomes the new normal, which by the way is what Ashok Swami posted again, and I point to Ashok as opposed to Elon. Maybe his comments have a little bit more weight in terms of reality. And Ashok said, "This is the new normal. This is what's going to happen." We'll see if that's true. I give that event a lot more credence than not. That it was fake, then it was not really true until they actually start rolling it out. You always have to start with the first one, and then you got to do a second one. Then you got to slowly do it. But then all of a sudden it becomes all of our cars are delivered this way now, right?
If they start, all of our cars won't be delivered that way, I don't think.
In Austin, and it won't happen for a long time, but that's how it works, right? One car, maybe another car 2 months from now, then another car, then all of a sudden.
I think I would have more confidence in that being meaningful if, like, in a week or two, all of a sudden the geofence is expanded to cover that area as well. Because then it would be like, okay, they felt confident in this because this was the next area they were going to, rather than, they just strapped a lot of bubble wrap. Can the car do it? Yeah, we know. But we also know that it's possible for the car to make a mistake, at least the version that we're on. Yep. It's possible. But to me, the biggest signal right now is when do we expand the geofence?
Yeah, but I want to, again, I'll push back a little bit on that one, because I'm ready for it to be very, very, very slow. And it should be very, very slow. And we as investors should not be asking for it. Hey, nothing's moving. It's been 2 months. Nothing's happened. What's going on? No, they said we're paranoid. We're going to go slow. And then the way it works is slow, slow, slow. And then all of a sudden we got it. Boom. The whole point of what Tesla's done is they designed everything to be this, first principles, to be every car, everywhere. But we don't need to do that until we've got everything nailed. And so let's just do it slowly at the very beginning.
I hear you. But they're also the ones that said that, this is a generalized solution. No, we won't have any geofence. And here we are in a geofence. they're also the
Again,
ones who, in that same call you're talking about, he said, we'll probably start off 10 to 12 vehicles. And then the next week, we'll probably add another 10. And a week after that, probably add another 10. And that hasn't happened yet. So I'm just saying, like, I can also use what they said as a measuring stick. So I'm with you, 100% with you. I just can't. And I do think we should hold them accountable to scale this out, if for no other reason, because I do think it's a safety critical tool that needs to go out there. And I understand Tesla worrying about their, having the media attack them, or the potential of slowing this down, because of an accident or something. But at the same time, they do have, I think, a moral responsibility to get this out there faster than not.
Yeah. Okay. It is what is it now? Wednesday. We started on Sunday, so it's about a week and 2 days after Sunday. So we're watching closely. The world is.
Yeah. So, when did it launch again? What
Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the week Sunday.
The 30th. No, wait. Where am I looking?
10 days ago.
On the 29th.
28th, wasn't it?
So started on a Sunday. 29th. June 29th.
22nd.
22nd. So it's been more than a week and a half.
It's 10 days.
Okay. You're right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you, Brian. Stick around and we'll get sent to Brian's YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody.